mostly wanted to start talking about what this is and what we're doing. So the goal with Works with RISC-V is to fill in some gaps. Not everyone can be a member of RISC-V International, or they aren't necessarily interested in ISO development, which is the primary focus of RISC-V International, and that's fine. Because RISC-V International was originally started as a trade organization, there's an NDA and an IP rights agreement that needs to be signed in order to join, and not everyone can do that either. And so with those things in mind, I created Works with RISC-V as a way to do outreach and engagement with the greater community, help provide assistance, a place for people to communicate with each other, resources, and bring feedback from the creator community back into RISC-V International's ISA development process. We're complementative and not competitive with RISC-V International. We're not part of RISC-V International, but we do work with them when it's appropriate. You don't need to be a member of RISC-V International to participate in Works with RISC-V. Our goal is to be an educational nonprofit in the future. We need to get more people involved before we can start doing that. There's all sorts of rules about getting that stuff started. But our goal is not to ever charge for access to our content or resources. Everything's designed to be done in the open and by the community at large. The point of the nonprofit is just to be able to get to a point where we can accept donations and other resources and help do some stuff and hopefully do more engagement stuff in the future. And the goal is to be a place where everyone who wishes to use or create projects with RISC-V can help each other with knowledge and resources. And that's part of our presentation tonight is going to be telling a lot of what that can be. In the future, we're going to structure the meetings a little bit differently. I'm not going to be going through this part as much, but we are going to have a news segment. The goal is to have a show and tell segment. So if anybody has anything that they'd like to show off that they're doing with RISC-V, be it hardware or software, we'll have an opportunity for that. I'm hoping to have presentations every month, and then we will also have a Q&A afterwards. We are going to record the news part. We're going to record the presentations. We are going to record the show and tells. We're not going to record the Q&A. Eventually, we'll get the Q&A set up so that people can actually ask directly into the various chats, and we're going to link those together and get them to show up on screen, but we're not doing that tonight. There was a lot of work just getting this up and running, so I'm glad we are where we are, and we'll make things better as time goes on. Couple other things worth talking about is we have some issues with international law. So some of the members and the leaders of the project, like myself, are based in the United States. Many of our resources are based in the United States, and because of that, we have some legal obligations we want to follow. It's nothing major, and we specifically designed this to try and keep the legal burden light. We do all of our work in the open. And so because of that, a lot of the rules don't apply. But then because of that, we don't need to collect personal information. We are going to have some new systems coming online where you'll need to have a login. And that's just to identify that you are separate from someone else. Logins, passwords, we're actually going to set it up so there are no passwords. It's all going to be email or passkeys in order to access everything. We are not going to collect personal information. We don't want to. But there's this EAR entity list thing that we have in the United States. And anyone who is on said entity list, we can't support and we can't import their products. This boils down basically to two major companies. One of them is Softco and the other one is Huawei. So people have asked in the Discord a couple of times, like, hey, if we are... why are there no channels for any of those chips? And that is why. We're going to have more details on the website in the very near future, and we're going to strive to keep that list updated just so that we know what's going on. Again, it's not that it's like verboten topics. It's more that we just want to be able to steer clear of any legal things and keep ourselves out of hot water. Pretty straightforward, but that was kind of what we were going for. In terms of resources, we have a few things already. We have the workswithrisc-v.net website. The goal there is to kind of be a central hub, let people know what links and information are available. There's also a wiki at workswithrisc-v.guide with product-specific information. So we have pieces in there for every single piece of hardware that we know about, various pieces of software, how to configure them, how to optimize them, all of that fun stuff. That is all hosted on GitHub and, right now it's hosted on Codeberg, mirrored to GitHub. But that is open for public contributions, and there's also a archive system attached to it so that you can take resources that are not necessarily easily available and bring them in. We're also going to bring over some other resources. A lot of the work that is being done for certain SOCs that are being developed in China are available in only Chinese versions of this thing called Git-T. We're going to mirror some of that so that it's easier for folks to access because the Git-T stuff can be really slow. We have real-time chat that happens on Discord. Links right there on the screen. There's a community gathering channel that you can come jump in. I'm also monitoring Twitch. We have the chat and the other things turned off. The goal is to get all of it linked together. Again, there's only so much time in the day, but we're hoping to have that for next month. And then we're also working on some non-Discord alternatives because we know not everybody wants to communicate through Discord, and that's also fine. This meeting happens on the second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. US Central, which works well for Americans and some folks in Asia, but not so well in Europe. We may have an additional gathering that better suits Europe, Africa, and the Middle East at some point in the future. And then we're hoping to have a forum soon. And the primary reason for that is just because we want to be able to make this stuff findable. And Discord is great, but trying to find stuff inside of Discord can be less than great. And so the goal is to try and make that better.